Hey, so somebody emailed and she asked me to talk about how to overcome the fear of her brain not obsessing about food the whole time. And I think I kind of know what she means. So, well, when you have anorexia or when you're in malnutrition, restricting food, your brain starts to think about food the whole time. It's because your brain's just really smart and it knows that you need to eat more. So it's like, well, maybe we're just not getting enough food because they forgot to eat. So maybe I should just think about food the whole time to remind them to eat. You're not eating because you forgot to eat, but same thing is happening. Your brain's just like, I don't know what's going on here. Why haven't we got enough food coming in? Maybe there's just maybe I need to constantly remind this person to eat. And anyway, so that's why we get super obsessed about food, just thinking about food the whole time. And personally, I couldn't abide it probably after the first 4 years. I have to admit, it probably did take about 4 years where I was really indulged and enjoyed indulging in thinking about food and cookbooks, reading cookbooks and watching cooking shows. And I would get so cozy and comfortable and happy when I was just looking through a cookbook. But after 4 or 5 years, I do begin to just get so bored of it. And I just got so bored of the constant thoughts in my head going round and round about food. So I have to admit, when I did go into recovery, I wanted to stop thinking about food. I didn't know that would happen, by the way. But when it started to happen, I started to realize I was obsessing about food a lot less. It was very welcome to me. But, this person who emailed, she was saying that's actually one of the things that she's scared of, because she's worried that when her brain's not full of thinking about food the whole time, that she'll be more worried about other anxieties that she has and other things that she's worried about. And maybe that's also true, I think, for people who have trauma for whatever reason. When they're distracted by thinking about food the whole time, it may mean that their brain is not thinking about that. And I'm not a therapist, so I'm not even going to go into trauma, and that's for your therapist to deal with. But if you have experienced trauma, that's absolutely something that you should be working with a therapist that knows how to deal with trauma. Because often I think people find that when their brains do stop obsessing about food, they start to process other things. But anyway, so even if someone's not been through trauma, but they're just sort of worried about the general anxieties that they might think about and other things that their brains might worry about. And I think that it's just another one of those things. When you have an eating disorder and you're contemplating or moving forward with or embracing recovery, your brain just throws up everything that it can possibly think of to try and put you off eating more food and recovering. And that to me just sounds like another one of these things, just another one of these tiny little worries that your brain's like, oh, be careful. You wouldn't want to recover because you don't know what's going to happen. And for the vast majority of us, what happens is all good. And you will start to get better and your brain will begin to be full of other things that are much more interesting than food. And you'll just think I can't believe that I was ever actually worried about not thinking about food the whole time. But you don't know until you get there. And the trouble with these little worries is that they stop you in the moment eating as much as you need to eat and taking the steps that you need to take in order to actually get to the place where things begin to get better. Even if, say, you are someone who's just naturally a nervous wreck and you're anxious about absolutely everything, and maybe all of that anxiety is just being completely masked by your eating disorder because your brain's too busy focusing on food, you're still, that anxiety is something that, as an adult, if you want to have a life that's good, fun, whatever, you're going to have to work out how to overcome and deal with that anxiety. I'm not saying I have the answers to that either, but you know what? You're a smart person. I'm sure that if you want to work that out, you will work out how to overcome that. But if you don't even get to the stage where you need to work out how to overcome whatever it is that you're worried that you won't work out how to overcome, you're still completely copping out and cutting yourself short, doing yourself short of what you could become, I think is the main thing there. If you're hiding behind an eating disorder because you're I might not be able to solve this problem that I have in my life, you're just not giving yourself the opportunity to even get to the point where you need to solve that problem. And when you get there, you will solve that problem because you have to, and because you're a smart person. So I think all of these things, just when you find yourself in these thought processes, what ifs, what if that, what if this, what if the other, what if I can't, blah, 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 shut up. Just shut it all up and eat.